Yo, what's going on, guys? Khordmaster is here, and I wanted to make another Koala Sampler video. You might hear my baby in the background because she's sitting not 2 feet from me. But let's go. So one of the things that I noticed about Koala Sampler is that when you launch a new session of it, you're not able to immediately start making music. And that's something that I dislike a lot. Compared to something like Korg Gadget, you can load up a gadget and just start making music right away. With Koala, when you load a new session, you need to think about, well, what am I going to do? Am I going to use the mic input here and use my voice to make some sounds and sequence them? Am I going to import some drums and, search your audio share or your file explorer to find drums that you think might sound good for a new track? Are you going to bring in a oldies track that you want to sample? Like, these are all different thoughts that, for me personally, like, those are things that kind of stop the creative process, because I like being able to just start something and kind of cycle through within the app and then kind of, get some inspiration that way. Everyone is different. I'm going to kind of continuously say that and remind people in these videos that my way is not the best way. My way is the best way for me, right? And I want you guys to really understand that, the importance of that, because I find a lot of, YouTube videos and just content in general, people insist on something and make it sound as though you have to try it this way or you really have to do things this way in order to be successful. That's not true at all. Everyone is different. As I've learned over the past several years, it's just really, really important to make sure that you take everything with a grain of salt and understand that no matter how hyped or how excited someone is for something, that's them, right? It's up to you to try it out and kind of see whether or not it works for you that way as well. All right, that's my little spiel to begin with. Now, what I wanted to do in today's video, however, is I wanted to talk about a couple different things here. First of all, I thought it would be cool if Koala Sampler had a default mode where when you launch it, certain samples and certain things are the way that you want them in every session. So for example, say if you have 16 drum and kick and all that type of stuff set up on your first page or even on your last page or something, I thought it would be dope if it always happens that way. There's not such a feature yet. I have to imagine that eventually we will be getting that in here, because I'm not an app developer, so I have no idea, but I can't imagine that being too difficult to implement. I know that Loopy Pro, which is another really dope iPad app, didn't have that at launch, and I don't want to say that it's because of me that it currently is available now, that it is a new feature, but it's there now, and I know that I've mentioned it, in the past, and I'm sure other people have as well. So until then, until we get that feature, I put a post up on the Facebook group, the Koala Facebook group, and Marek replied to it and said that there's a way to do this right now, which is, of course, save a drum template and then use the save as feature. That's a cool workaround. For me, you just have to always remember to save as and not just regular save, because if you regular save, then your template is going to be taken over by whatever song that you created, and then you have to do a little bit of work to get around that. So let's go ahead with all that being said, and let's create a drum template. And if you guys want this drum template, let me know in the comments below, and I will find a way to get it to you guys. Probably, put it on my website and let you guys be able to download it from there. I think that would be pretty cool, actually. All right, so let's do that. So the first thing is, I used to use audio share all the time. Now I don't use it anymore because there is the ability to to import something, and it's so much more convenient to use this mechanism here, right? To have File Explorer over there to the left. So what you need to do to get rid of audio share, I didn't realize this, is you have to go in here and you have to disable audio share, right? So if I enable it, then I click, it's going to launch audio share, and then you have to go through here, and it's like, I don't like leaving the app. That's another thing. I want to stay in the app that I'm in. I don't like having to leave the app. That's not fun for me at all. Certain times you have to, and that's okay. But yeah, so disable that, go okay, and let's find a kick drum that sounds cool. So let's come in here, and I'm going to show you guys a little trick that I didn't know, that we'll see which way works better in just a second. So let's go to kicks, his Ninth Wonders kit here. Let me turn the volume up a little bit so I can hear it better. That's interesting. So say if you like this one, you can load and it shows up right there. Then it closes the app. So to me, what I would like is I would like to be able to have this stay up until I tell it to go away by hitting the X button at the top. Do you know what I'm saying? Like if I'm importing, I'm rarely, if ever, going to just want to import one thing. So why not keep this app open until I tell it to close? So I also mentioned that in the Facebook post, and the response to that, and I'm going to show you guys something cool in a second. The response was that there's a way to keep this open, and I'll show you that in just a sec. Just, this one is cool. So load. So if you find something that you like and you don't want this to close, you can click and hold and drag it over. Now, beggars can't be choosers. Okay, now it stays open, but now the process of dragging to a specific pad takes a few extra seconds. I kind of just would like to tap, 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 and let it automatically apply to each subsequent pad. I would like to think that eventually we might be getting that as well. Who knows, right? Part of me feels like why, like this app, it does so much. Like I feel a little bit bad, like saying we should get this or we should get that, but this app has the potential to just continuously get better and better. It's already head and shoulders above most, if not all, other iOS music apps, in my opinion. The only other app that I use, as much in the same category as Koala is Korg Gadget for me, and for the reasons that I mentioned before, it's all inclusive. Everything is there for you. You don't have to ever leave the app, but there's limitations to that app as well. Anyway, we have some kicks. Let's find some snares next. Let's go here. This is cool. This is cool. This is cool. I wonder if there's a way to make. So you see, you have to keep scrolling on here. Like, is there a way to make these? I think there might be. Hang on. Let's see. Icons, lists. What about lists? Oh, there we go. Maybe that. This will probably be better. Look at this, guys. I kind of just learned something. Like, this is probably a better way to, right? To just go up, down. And even if you had like a MIDI or a QWERTY keyboard to just, I don't know if I haven't tried this yet, but to just hit a key like the down arrow and just let it sift through different sounds, kind of like in Ableton or Logic, that would be pretty cool. I'm a little tired. It's like, what, it's 5 in the morning, 6 in the morning right now. All right, so this is, I'm learning some good stuff here. So we'll bring this one over. Bring this over. Also, this is kind of, I don't know if I need that there. That takes up some space. Am I complaining a lot, guys? I hope I'm not. All right, so yeah, this list, I like the list view a lot better. That makes so much more sense. So there's another pro tip, like use the list view for sure versus what were we in before? Icons. Yeah, use the list view. Do yourself a favor. It just makes so much more sense. I'm very happy I just discovered that. All right, so we got some snares. Let's get some hi-hats. Bring this in. Bring this in. That's fine. Shakers? Sure. So this is my issue here, is like doing what I'm doing right now. I could never see myself doing this to start a song ever. It's just it just takes away creativity from me. Um, I'll show you guys something in just a second. I'll show you what my flow is more about in just a second. All right, so that's fine. Anything else? Cymbals, claps. So we didn't get claps yet. Let me come to the bottom. So claps. All right, and one more. Okay. So a couple things here. So let's close this out. Now we have a drum pad, a drum kit, I should say. Very cool. So okay. So let's save this first of all. Let's save this and let's call this drum template. I may have something already called that. No, I don't. All right, so this is called drum template. So now if I were to create a song from this and I'm like, oh, this is dope. I have other, other samples over here or whatever. I would go into here and do a save as, call it whatever the new thing is called. And I would have to make sure that I always use that workflow and never hit save because, as I mentioned before, the moment you hit save is when things get, a little bit messed up. In the sense of it saving over your drum template with other stuff there. So that is how we create this. Now I kind of would like to make something with this, but before I do that, I want to kind of talk about like what is infinitely more inspiring for me if I'm starting out with drums, right? Rather than doing what I just did, like going through this process, right? Even right now, just sitting here, I'm thinking to myself, like, is this the best drum template? Or is this the best drum kit that I created? What about all the other drum sounds? Are there better drum sounds? Is this going to be something inspired? So I think about all these different things, and I know it's maybe sound a little bit crazy, but when you have something like, let's go into Nano Studio here, something that I've been checking out a little bit more lately. So this is an app that I think is absolutely spectacular. I think it's super dope. So if I go into here and I'm just like, I want to create like a drum, pattern or something, I can just quickly double tap and we have a drum kit ready to go. To some people, they may say, no, that's not really good because, you want to fine tune things and you want to dial it in exactly how the way you want it. What if you don't want that there? What if you want a different sample there or something like that? I don't care personally at all about that. I want something to just be able to launch and be like, I just need to be able to do that quick and to know that like this pad down on the bottom left is gonna not have a sound like this. It's gonna be like a sort of consistent and uniform way about the layout of the different sounds. So so thinking out loud, now we talked about before not wanting to have too many different apps that we're dealing with, but what I've been thinking about lately is how can I utilize these sounds but still do everything in Koala. So one way would be to use AUM and create, and I can actually do this, and maybe I'll make another video later talking about this explicitly, but use AUM, route these sounds into Koala, and just essentially, I've done it with Gadget before. Matter of fact, maybe we'll try it right now, actually, 'cause I'm kind of curious. So essentially, if I were to, so I have this saved already. So let's also go into new and let's go into AUM and say if we wanted to create, let me think how we do this for a second. So I guess if I go audio and the audio is coming from say Nano Studio and that audio is going into Koala Sampler as an AU. Okay. And then if I go into Koala and let's see how we would do this here. I think I need to make sure that, or actually, let me see something. Okay, so press and hold. All right, so I think that if I go into here and I pick a drum kit that I like, Okay, you don't hear it, and the reason you don't is because it needs to be monitoring. So let's go back here. I think this needs to be, the monitor button needs to be on. Let's try again. All right, so now what we can do, this is where the video gets a little more exciting. For those of you who are like, all right, you know, Khordmaster, that's cool for the first thing that you did, but where did you get those drum sounds from? Well, I downloaded them. Then a whole wormhole of like, where do you download stuff from? How do you get them? All that type of stuff. Well, what if you have an app already with drum samples in it and you just want to use those drum samples? So I can take, I don't know, a couple of hours if I wanted, and I can do the following. And I might actually do just that now that I'm kind of talking about it. But essentially, lay it out just this way that I did, Nano Studio or Korg Gadget, right? Going into Koala, and then make sure monitor is on, and then I can find a drum kit that I really like. So let's see, double tap. All right, so let's try this. So we have, what, 24 samples here. So let's go to here, tap, and I'm just gonna, all right, so now we have everything here. If I hit edit, now the cool thing is if we go to, what is this, channel 1? Okay, if I go to tools and auto chop, we can chop this up so that everything, there's one more thing I should probably mention, and I'll mention it in a second. Let me just get this right where it needs to be. All the transients. Oh, look at that. I don't like how that one does multiple there, but that's okay. So it's actually not perfect, as you can see. So perhaps we, I don't know, go about there. And maybe we'll, and there's a few different ways here, right? Let's see. Oh, first of all, what does this keep original? Oh, so that's a big deal, guys. So look at that. That's new. I haven't seen that before. So tools, auto chop. This keep original means that if you don't want to keep original, it will remove it and replace it with the first one. There, yeah, that's kind of a big deal. Okay. So I'm gonna do one shot. And I guess choke group should be all on one. I guess, maybe. And let's chop it. So now look at this. So it's, again, not perfect because you have some of these things in here, right? So you have like multiple here. But I think you see where I'm going with this. You basically have a drum kit now. So in here, what if I did a file, save as, and call this drum kit 2 and save it. So this is where it gets a little tricky. So when you save in AUM with Koala, it doesn't save just directly to Koala. So choose the location to move this item. So let's see, maybe if do I need to send it to Koala like this and send it to songs? Maybe. Let's move it there. So I think that should mean that now if I hit load and I go drum kit 2, there we go. So that's a big deal. We can now use sounds outside of Koala in other apps the way that I just showed and create drum kits that it might take a little while to do, to maybe set it up exactly that way. Perhaps an idea for me might be to, like not make one for every single one of these Nano Studio kits, but maybe start with, I don't know, maybe go in alphabetical order. Like just be like, all right, I'm gonna make a beat today, and this beat is gonna have this drum kit, and create this drum kit in Koala, and save it as such, and call it, maybe name it like DK for drum kit, and then atomic weight or something, so that I know that that's corresponds here, something along those lines. So that's kind of where I want to leave this video. This video kind of turned out to be really cool, showing two different ways, import examples, and then this other way that I just demonstrated. Before I actually leave, let's go ahead and make something now. So let's make something on the fly. Might be good, might be horrible. We'll find out together. Oh, so right off the bat, we don't want choke groups. So everything I said before about choke groups, we don't want those on. So let's, I don't think there's a easier way to do this. So, but I mean, maybe that was good that I made a song to discover. So you don't want to turn choke groups on, because as you can see, it's gonna choke out the sounds. I would say you just want one shots on though. You want to leave one shots on. And it depends. Maybe you might want choke loops on for certain things, right? Like when I'm bringing in other samples or something like that. But not right now. That's not what we need. All right, let's see. So I may come in here and let's bring in some type of like a sample. Well, actually, hang on. Let's actually bring in. Ooh, for any of y'all who are still listening to this, here's a little sample of a song from my upcoming album, which is dedicated to my daughter, called Kayla Joy Album. Let's go. Fire. All right, that's where I'm going to leave the video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and feel free to subscribe to the video to the channel, excuse me, if you guys are interested in more content like this. I'm going to be making just a lot more. I feel very energized to create more and more content. A lot heavily focused on Koala, but also just on iOS music, iOS content creation with LumaFusion, just sharing things that I've learned over the years. I have this new setup that's just very easy to use, and I can just make videos that sound good enough quality. Hopefully you guys agree that the quality here is pretty good. By doing just a screen share, I don't have to, worry about getting myself dressed up and looking a certain way. I can just record when I feel like it, and that's very exciting to me. So thank you guys so much, and I look forward to seeing you guys on the next one. All right, take care.